Part 37. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 362. Chapter 362, Grandma's Ioxu will also buy it for you. She brought a full 10,000 yuan with her when she went out this time, as well as 2,000 yuan given by Mr. Zhang. It adds up to 12,000, which is quite a lot of money. Mr. Zhang doesn't want to make a car, and besides, someone has to keep an eye on him at home. There are so many bamboo rats in the back of the mountain, and there are fish in the fields. Someone needs to keep an eye on all of this. Otherwise, what if someone takes him away? There are also chickens that need to be fed. Fortunately, the old man is unwilling to go out, otherwise the two brothers and Wei would not be able to get out. How is it? I'm not wrong, their family is quite fair, Grandma he had already found out clearly. Well, I can rest assured that third aunt will do things I trust third aunt the most. Aunt Yang began to flatter her. Stop talking nonsense, let this little girl take out the things you like tomorrow, and let Xiaoi take a look at them then. That's it? It's serious enough and not too embarrassing. Rich people have the confidence. Haha, if it weren't for being outside, Grandma he would have wanted to hit someone. A big bracelet costs 40 or 50 grams. What else do you want? How about moving the entire store home? After looking at the most important places, Grandma he took them to buy some vegetables and their daily necessities. She looked at the time and saw that it was getting late. Xiao and the others would be out of school soon. Let's go, follow me to pick up Xiao and the others. On this day, Aunt Yang spent a whole day wandering around the big city, satisfying her curiosity. On the other side, under the leadership of He Anyang, the two brothers He and Wei finally met their sister-in-law. After the Li family learned that the He family's parents had arrived, they immediately called out and wanted to treat them to a meal. But He Anyang stopped him and said that they would meet for a meal together tomorrow. The parents of the Li family are also well informed and sensible. They know that they have just arrived and need to have a good rest. They can do it tomorrow, so it is not too late. After leaving the Li family, He and Wei and He Ancheng joked about their brother. Brother, you have good taste. My sister-in-law is pretty good, but not as good as my sister-in-law, He and Wei said teasingly. He Ancheng was also close. I can't compare to my sister-in-law, but my sister-in-law and my sister-in-law are different. But brother, why did my sister-in-law fall in love with you? Seeing that his eldest brother's face was as black as carbon, He Ancheng asked unclearly. I see that you both have itchy skin and need to be dealt with. The three brothers started fighting on the road. The brothers finally came here, and He Anyang also wanted to take them around. Buy them some more things. Having been out for so long, he really hasn't bought anything for them. Seeing their eldest brother taking them to the mall, He and Wei and He Ancheng would not be polite to their eldest brother. Hence, He Anyang had an angry look on his face when he came out. Is this still his biological brother? Just wait for me, he shouted angrily at the two of them. They are not afraid, brother, don't be so stingy. You earn money just for spending it. You spend it on everyone. Now my brother will help you spend a little bit. You have to thank us. And Wei's words are becoming more and more irritating now. The dinner was very sumptuous, and it was a lively event for a dozen or so people eating together. Xiao and the three of them were very angry when they learned that Uncle Yang was going shopping with Aunt Yang tomorrow. Because they have to go to school tomorrow. The three angrily gathered around He Anyang all night long, forcing their demands. Fortunately, it's all about eating, drinking, and shopping. He Anyang agreed to all. The next day, the two families finally met officially. Grandma he also introduced them one by one. Today, Mei Shui also came with her because Grandma asked. Everyone, please don't be so polite. Let's do business first. After that, we will have a meal together and then sit down and have a good chat. Grandma he took the initiative to make arrangements. Sure, just listen to my in-laws' advice. Mother Lee's face was full of smiles. She was really satisfied with the He family's parents. He speaks very kindly, without the harshness of the villagers, and is very sensible. Aunt Yang was also very satisfied with the first meeting between Lee's parents, and she didn't have the condescending feeling of people in the city. The whole family is very kind, and the little girl is even more satisfied with Aunt Yang. If the target hadn't been for her own son, she would have felt that Aunt Yang was unworthy. It turns out that once the two families were satisfied, the atmosphere immediately changed. When they arrived at the gold store yesterday, the shopping guide who received them yesterday was looking forward to it early. Early in the morning, I prepared the things that others saw yesterday and waited for them to arrive. Hello, but she still knew the rules and couldn't tell others about seeing things in advance. It turned out that Aunt Yang was not so frivolous and said, "Little girl, please take out what I liked yesterday and let my daughter-in-law see it." Hearing what she said, the shopping guide took a look at the people behind her. Seeing that no one had any other emotions on their faces, she also started to do her work. "Then your daughter-in-law should take a good look at it. Not many mothers-in-law have such courage as you. They choose all the big things," the little girl said sweetly. The movements were also very smooth, and he took out the things in a short time. "Little girl, come here and take a look. This is what your mother-in-law chose for you yesterday. This thing is not light," the shopping guide said with envy. Li Hei's face turned red and she almost hid behind He Anyang. En Wei and the others wanted to know what their mother had chosen, so they ran forward directly. After seeing what was above them, the two of them took a few steps back. "Xiao Chang, let's go and see other things." En Wei pulled his brother and walked to the side. The Li family's parents were a little confused, but when they got closer and saw the things placed on top, they were frightened. "My mother-in-law, isn't this thing too expensive? Rules are one thing, but there is no need to choose such a big one." As if she had found the courage, Aunt Yang patted her pocket and said, "It's okay. I'm happy to give it to my daughter-in-law." Li Hei was also held by He Anyang and came forward. When she saw the thing, she was dumbfounded. "No, I can't have this. If there's anything you can't ask for, just take what mom chooses for you." He Anyang smiled happily. "No, don't look at how much this thing costs. It won't cost my mother anything to buy it." Li Hei didn't care about this kind of thing. A form is enough. The formality was just to prevent her parents from being embarrassed in front of outsiders, but she was not an ungrateful person. "Xiaoi, come here and put it on, let mom see if it fits." Aunt Yang's peacock tail opened and she screamed happily. Grandma He didn't want to take care of her. After seeing that she was handling it well, she let go and took Mei Shui to the side to watch the little thing. "Xiaoxiu, can grandma buy you a big bracelet too?" Seeing people buying things, she felt that she owed Xiaoxiu a lot. Meixiu quickly shook her head. "No, I don't like these things." She really didn't like them. If she had liked them, she would have worn the gold in the space before. Besides, wearing these things is very annoying. It is not convenient to work. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 363. Chapter 363, Returning to the Village to Show Off. "You really don't want it, Grandma?" He didn't believe it. "All girls like these things, why don't you want them?" "Grandma, that's what little girls like." "How old am I? A mother of 3 children, why are you wearing these things?" Mei Shui was very determined, she didn't want to wear them. "Well, the money is in your hands anyway, you can buy whatever you like." Grandma He didn't say much after seeing that Xiaoxiu really didn't like it. "And Li Hei has a problem here. Mom, let's change these." Of course she was happy to see her mother-in-law thinking about herself, but she also had to think about her husband's family, so she couldn't have any of the things her mother-in-law chose. Mother Li also agreed with her daughter's approach. She chose a smaller set on the side, with 5 pieces in total, which was one more than others. A pair of earrings, a small bracelet, and 2 rings, 5 pieces in total. Also called hardware. Aunt Yang was a rare generous person. When she saw what her daughter-in-law had chosen, she immediately became unhappy and said, "My mother-in-law, look at how this girl can be so stubborn. There is no comparison." She had a purpose in buying such a heavy item, firstly for her son, and secondly for herself. They would definitely go back when they got married, and her daughter-in-law would look very handsome wearing these things. The noise here alarmed Mei Shui and Grandma, who were sitting on the other side. The two looked at each other and walked over. "What are you doing? You don't even look at the place. Why are you making a fuss here?" As soon as they came up, "Grandma," he said to Aunt Yang. Of course, outside, she also saved face for Genbei's wife, without being too harsh. "Third aunt, you came just in time. Tell me why this girl is so stubborn. She doesn't want anything I choose for her. Look at what she chose. How could this be possible? Aunt Yang is really anxious." Seeing her like this, everyone from the Li family's parents to the store staff were very satisfied. Grandma He and Mei Shui took a look and understood. "That's right, Xiaoi, the ones you chose are not good, they won't stand up, so let's keep this bracelet that your mother-in-law chose for you, and we'll choose some other good-looking ones. She has a bad taste." Grandma He took Li Hei's hand and made a serious choice with her. After a while, I picked out a few items that were lighter in weight but more beautiful in style. Aunt Yang also wanted to choose yesterday, but after comparing the weight, she still chose something a little more old-fashioned. Only in this way does it weigh much. Li Hei originally wanted to refuse, but after her mother shook her head, she could only accept it with peace of mind. "That's it? It's a little too gentle, so don't be surprised by my mother-in-law," Grandma He said with a smile on her face. "Grandma, you are so polite. These things are very good, but most people can't afford them." She meant it sincerely. "It's okay, these are all small things. As long as they get along well in the future, these are no big deal." "That's right, these things are said to be for Xiaoi, but they are also for my future grandchildren." Aunt Yang smiled. The Li family's parents also became happy. "Haha, no, it's all theirs." After setting the price, Aunt Yang went to pay the price, which was a little lower than the price quoted yesterday. The gold jewelry was bought, but the new clothes were not bought yet, so everyone went to the mall again. Fortunately, they are not far apart on this street. I will definitely not be able to go back at noon, but I have already agreed today that the woman will treat me to dinner, and Aunt Yang will not fight for it. At worst, her family will treat me to dinner. The engagement date is December 8th in Shenzhen City. Let's talk about the time issue. The time used to be written was based on the lunar calendar. Many people are not used to it now. I have changed it to the solar calendar. December 8th is the date. It is not the 8th day of the 12th lunar month. It is a very auspicious day, suitable for getting married. It was only 2 or 3 days before this day. Since the Li family didn't invite many people, we had to eat at home. The man went to the Intercontinental Hotel for a drink. He had no choice but to do so. He and Young still had some friends here, so they couldn't all go to his house to eat. On the day of the engagement, because he had many brothers, he and Wei, he and Chang and Hians carried all the things that he and Young wanted to send to the woman's house. Then he picked up another load himself, and Xiao Zhang and Xiao Li also picked up a load of vegetables and meat. 6 people went there, 6 loads. Even numbers are very auspicious. Xiao and the others really want to go, but unfortunately, they need to go to school to find out more. Xiao Cheng and Xiao Peng were angry and scolded each other at home for a long time, but their mother refused to ask for leave. This made the two of them very sad. As for Aunt Yang and the others, they don't need to go. They will ask Hians and Mother Li to pick them up during lunch. The rules in Shenzhen City are different from those in the village. When you get here, you just follow other people's arrangements. He Anyong's marriage was decided in this way. He Jianbei and the others couldn't let go of things in the village, so they left Shenzhen city on the third day after the engagement. When leaving, Li Hei gave a gift to her mother-in-law. I don't know if she knew something, but this gift was sent to Aunt Yang's heart. This is the main reason why her two subsequent daughters-in-law have never been able to compare with the sister-in-law. Hejiakan. After He Jianbei and the others arrived home, they were immediately surrounded by several good friends from the village. Everyone came to ask about Anyang's wife. Especially some people's sharp eyes saw what was under the thick cotton clothes, and all of them opened their eyes wide. Yang's mother, did you buy this from the Shenzhen market this time? A few people who were playing with Aunt Yang immediately started asking. What is Aunt Yang? Yo, what are you talking about? Hey, my eldest daughter-in-law bought this for me. I told her I didn't want it, but she just gave it to me. What do you think? You haven't even walked in yet you gave me such a big gift. What should I do? Well, the snoring is her disease and it cannot be cured. He Jianbei on the side also has one, but his is more eye-catching, with a big shining gold ring on his hand, but it was He Anyang who bought it. You can get one for each of the young couple, which is quite complete. This one from Jianbei is not cheap, right? No, it's so big. Look, there are words inside. It's a hair, I recognize it. Everyone discovered the most shining thing about them. Jianbei, is this also a gift from your wife? Some people joked with unkind intentions. What nonsense are you talking about? This is called etiquette. It was prepared by our father-in-law. If any of you dare to talk nonsense, see if I don't tear his mouth apart. Aunt Yang immediately stopped and defended herself. He Jianbei swallowed the words that came to his lips. Can he say that this was given by his son? No, he can't. He was afraid that if he said that, he would not be able to have in the future. Grandma He and her family don't know about the lively happenings in the village. But after finishing her busy work with He Anyang, the old lady began to wander around in her own community. Come, let's all shout together, happy birthday to the village girl. Village girl, thank you, my dears, I will use the recommended monthly pass to pay for the gift. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 364. Chapter 364, The Tragedy of Mom Picking Up Students from School. Uncle John, your grandson really wants to ask for a wife. Well, the old lady is addicted to matchmaking. What, the older girl has a good partner? An old man with snow-white hair immediately became interested. He was playing chess with someone. When he heard this, he couldn't even play chess. Grandma He nodded, but then shook her head. Yes, yes, but your family's conditions are so good, I'm afraid you won't look down on them. Well, after several months of hard work, the old lady made friends with many old men and ladies in Shenzhen city. When she was in the county town, she often chatted with the old men and women around her, so she could give her first-hand information. What are you talking about? My family's conditions are not good. Let me tell you, my family's conditions are not good. Okay, this old man is also a weirdo. He has money in his family, but he is a bit stingy. But his grandson is really good, and the old lady has learned about it. Mei Shui saw her grandma chatting happily by the garden. She stepped forward to say hello and went directly to school to pick up the children. As soon as Mei Shui left, everyone started gossiping about her, which Mei Shui didn't expect. It finally made Grandma He regain the feeling she had in the village, showing off her granddaughter-in-law. At the school gate, there were many people coming to pick up their children. Not long after Mei Shui arrived, she was spotted by the mother of a classmate in Xiaopeng's class. "You are the mother of He Shipeng and He Shishan. I haven't seen you coming to pick up the children for a long time. Usually it seems that the wives of the children are here." Mei Shui has a good memory. When school started, she wrote down Xiaopeng's classmates and parents. "Yes, hello, Mommy Xiahua." Mei Shui greeted the host with a smile on her face. "Xiahua, don't think this name sounds like a girl, but she is an out-and-out boy. Compared with Xiaopeng in Mingcheng, it is just a smaller version." "Yes, I am Xiahua's mother. Why did you come to pick up the children today? Where is their wife?" The old lady is a talkative person. She has found out that He Shipeng's mother is a big boss. Seeing the look in her eyes, Mei Shui knew that this person and the old lady were from the same country. The old lady is busy playing matchmaker for others today. She has no time looking at her grandma's recent changes. Mei Shui was quite happy. The old lady still has this hobby. Xiahua's mother was surprised. "If I had known this, I would have asked her to help my girl find a good partner," she said with a pity on her face. Mei Shui was speechless for a moment, but said, "If you can believe it, you can tell the old lady tomorrow." The old lady is still very serious about this matter. It happened that grandma had recently fallen in love with matchmaking. "Really?" Xiahua's mother looked surprised. "Then I have to have a good chat with the old lady tomorrow." From the first glance, their family is not an ordinary family, and the person they are looking for is definitely not bad. If it succeeds, there is no need to think about what happens next. She thinks everyone in the family will be happy. Besides, her husband's sister is not bad in appearance and has a good job. She works as a statistician in the factory, which is very relaxing. It doesn't delay the two of them to talk about their relationship after the blind date. Okay, their wives will come to see them off tomorrow morning. Mei Shui felt that grandma should handle these people. She couldn't handle them. After chatting for a while, students from the school came out. Mei Shui had sharp eyes and saw Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng from afar. She waved her hand. She believed that the children would also recognize her. Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng, who were standing at the end of the team, were discussing where to wait for their brother. Xiaocheng had sharp eyes and was looking for his wife there early, and soon discovered their mother. "Second brother, look, Mom is coming to pick us up today," Xiaocheng said happily, pointing to the school. Xiaopeng looked at Xiaocheng's hand and said, "It's true." It seemed that he couldn't go where he wanted to go. Mother will definitely not let them go. There is a game room nearby. If the wife is there, they can go in and play. As for the mother, they dare not mention it. "Then we'll just stand outside and wait for brother," Xiaopeng said somewhat unhappily. Xiaocheng also thought of this. "How about we ask Mom to take us there?" He actually wanted to play too. "Do you dare to tell your mother?" A look of disgust appeared on his face. Of course, there is also hope in it. Xiaocheng shook his head. "Second brother, I don't dare." "How about you go ahead? You are the elder brother, so you can't let me, my younger brother, take the lead." Having been in school for 2 months, the two of them have also learned a lot of bad habits. Usually they act like that in front of Mei Shui, but it's different in front of their beloved wife. After leaving the school gate, the two happily walked to their mother. "Mom, why are you here to pick us up today?" Xiaopeng asked. Seeing him like this, Mei Shui frowned. "Why, it seems like you don't like me to pick you up." No, Xiaocheng immediately denied. "How could I not like my mother? They like their mother the most, but when it comes to picking them up from school, they think it's better for their wife to do it." "Huh, really? But I didn't see it on your faces." Mei Shui was not stupid, and her son's obvious dislike of her could still be seen. "No, Mom, you are overthinking. Let's wait here for the eldest brother. The eldest brother won't be out of school for another hour." Xiaopeng also joined in the explanation. She knew that she had to wait for an hour, but just standing here waiting, she felt that these two little guys would not be happy. Is there any place you want to go? Let's go shopping first and then come over to pick up Xiao, Mei Shui asked kindly. Who can, these two people? No, Mom, we can just wait here, it won't take long. Mei Shui was very happy to see them playing tricks on her. Okay, since you think this place is very good, you can't waste time. So, just walk under the big tree for an hour, I can't cure you. Sure enough, after hearing what their mother said, the two of them immediately burst into tears. Mom, we were wrong, they were really wrong, and their mother was not that easy to fool. Humph, tell me, what bad idea do you have, at such a young age? I have a lot of thoughts. Xiao Cheng saw that his mother couldn't hide it anymore, and he didn't plan to hide it anymore. What if her mother agreed? Mom, my second brother and I want to play games. After saying that, he lowered his head. Children are children. If Xiao were here, he would definitely not be blown up so easily. Mei Shui was stunned. What game? She really didn't know. Seeing his brother say it, Xiaopeng had no choice but to accept his fate. That's it. He pointed at a game room not far away and said. Meixiu looked over, but unfortunately, she didn't recognize him and had never seen him before. Let's go, take me there and have a look. She saw many children walking there, but she didn't know what kind of games they were playing. So Xiaopeng and Xiaochen were forced to take their mother to the game room. It was really crowded inside, not only children, but also some young people from society were playing here. But everyone plays in his own way. What adults play is different from what children play. After Mei Shui got to know them briefly, she asked, what kind of games do you usually play? She felt that it was necessary for her to pay more attention to the children's extracurricular life. In other words, she gave them too little homework, and she had to discuss it with Mr. Wu. The two of them didn't know what their mother was thinking, otherwise they would regret it too late. Wish me a happy birthday. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 365. Chapter 365, Everyone's Changes. This Xiao Cheng said excitedly, pointing to the machine he usually played with. Meixiu glanced at it. It was okay, it was a dual style, give it a try. She also became interested. However, most of the people here are people who come to play on their own, and there are also many parents who come with their children. But it's not outstanding. Mei Shui said she really wanted to play because she had never played it herself. Going to the boss to exchange some coins, Mei Shui learned the game under the guidance of Xiaopeng and others. While playing, Mei Shui discovered the fun and forgot about time for a while. She didn't come back to her senses until Xiao came. Okay, that's it for today, let's go home first. Mei Shui let go of the character she was controlling, stopped, and said. When she went back with her three children, Mei Shui found that she was a person who didn't care about anything, but she actually lost track of time when playing games. I have to say that this is addictive. This is not the first time for Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng to play, and they are also very interested. There is also Xiao. Even though he is older than the two of them, he is also a child. So, they can't go to this game room. When I got home, Grandma had already bought groceries and was busy in the kitchen. As soon as she heard the sound of the door opening, she knew that her great-grandchildren were back. Hey, why are you back so early today? Normally, they would play in that small room for a while before coming back. Hand in today. As soon as Mei Shui heard this, she knew that these three guys were going to play a lot. Grandma, I think we have to discuss something. Mei Shui looked a little unhappy. Grandma, he walked out of the kitchen and saw Xiaoxiu's bad face and asked quickly, what's wrong? Grandma, do you let them play games every day? Mei Shui asked directly. Grandma, he didn't intend to hide it, or in other words, she thought it was okay to just have fun. Yes, don't ruin your brain by reading every day. Besides, there are many children playing there. Grandma, he said with a smile. Grandma, they are still young, and now is the time for learning. I think playing games is not suitable for them now. That's it, then don't let them play in the future. Grandma, he listened to Mei Shui very much. Xiaoxiu said that if they can't play, they must not play. She loves Xiaoxiu more than her great-grandson. Well, Grandma, you must remember it. Mei Shui was a little surprised when she heard her grandma agree, but she was still a little worried. Grandma, how about this? I don't have much to do recently. You can drop off the children in the morning and I can pick them up in the evening. They couldn't play in the morning and had to go in as soon as they arrived at school. It's different after school, because I still have to wait for Xiao, so I have an hour to spare in between. Grandma, he nodded immediately without thinking. That's no problem. I was just about to tell you about this. I recently took on a job and may not be able to pick them up. She agreed to find it for the old man. Where is my grandson's wife? Well, that's settled. Two adults directly decided the fate of 3 children after school. But they did not dare to resist. The 3 poor little guys walked into their rooms obediently and did their homework. After He Niang's marriage was settled in December, Mei Shui talked to He Niang about opening a branch. He also planned to let Li Hai take care of another branch, while He Niang had to keep an eye on things in the village. Of course the young couple is happy. No, Li Hai went directly to work on the new store. He Niang has lived in the village for a long time, but he has no choice. The vegetables in the fields and mountains have been ripe recently, so he has to contact the Intercontinental Hotel. Every day is very busy, and Xiao Zhang and Xiao Li are becoming more and more skilled under the leadership of He Niang. When it came time for He Niang to buy a new house, Hians didn't complain and worked hard to find a house for him. At the end of December, Grandma, he received a call from the village, saying that Anwen's wife was pregnant again. This call must have been made by Aunt Yang. She has been on the phone very frequently recently. Xiaoxiu, Anwen, and Shuang are finally pregnant with their second child. Your Aunt 11 will be dying if she doesn't get pregnant with her grandma. He shared the good news with Mei Shui. Of course Mei Shui was also happy for them. Well, even if Anwen is in Kyoto, he won't be able to go back for a while. I wonder how happy Aunt 11 is now. Of course she has to be happy. Now that her son and daughter have become successful, there are several people in the village who can compare with her grandma. He sighed. At their age, the desire to compare has long ago spread from themselves to their children and grandchildren. Just like her, she always compares her grandchildren and daughter-in-law with others, and now they are great-grandchildren. How many can compare to her? Looking at the rippling smile on her grandma's face, Mei Shui knew what she was thinking without having to think about it. Grandma, do you think the twins will return to the village to raise their babies? Grandma, he shook her head. No, Shuang is a strong person. It can be seen from her treatment of her parents that she has a strong idea. She will not return to the village. Once, Li Shuang's parents learned that her husband was having a career, and they always found an excuse to ask Anwen to help them arrange Li Shuang's brother. Neither Anwen nor Li Shuang agreed. Leaving aside the business he runs, it is impossible to find Li Shuang's brother for work in the village. He is very lazy, and the woman is not a good one either. Let's not even think about it here in the winery. Anwen is not a boss who can be manipulated. Finally, Aunt Zillian spoke and asked them to buy some vegetables to grow and then sell them in their family's name. It can be considered a kind of help. It's a pity that Li Shuang gave the seed money in the end. Her family's behavior made Li Shuang embarrassed. Hence, he doesn't even care about his mother's family's affairs. Just pretend that you don't have a natal family. It's okay if she doesn't come back. Anwen is not at home, and it's not convenient for her to come back alone. If anything happens, you can't blame your mother-in-law entirely. No, Xiao still has to go to school and can't come back. It's better not to go back to the village. Grandma, he also agreed. I'll call Anwen later and congratulate him. Mei Shui knew how busy Anwen was in Kyoto. I'm afraid he won't be able to come back for the Chinese New Year this year. It's time to call. Let me find the phone number and I'll call Grandma. He became energetic and took action immediately. In Kyoto, Anwen was busy finishing the last batch of orders when Anshin knocked on the door and walked in. Brother Anwen, you are still busy. I am here, why don't you go back first? Anshin knew that the factory was very busy recently, but now his sister-in-law was pregnant again, and the pregnancy was not very good. He felt that Anshin brother Wen had better spend more time with his sister-in-law. It's okay, things are almost done. Your sister-in-law is sleeping at home now. I will pick up Xiaoi and go home in a while. Xiaoi goes to school in a kindergarten next to their factory, not far from him. Anshin saw what Anwen said, and there was nothing he could do to deal with him. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 366. Chapter 366, Ma Liming goes to Shenzhen City. I thought to myself, it would be great if my sister-in-law was here. Only my sister-in-law could control Brother Anwen. Anshin found a place and sat down. Brother Anwen, does your sister-in-law plan to go back to the village to raise a baby? Like in the village, the mother-in-law usually takes care of pregnancy and confinement. No, she doesn't want to go back. He didn't trust her to go back either. They were so far away, and he didn't worry that he wouldn't be able to make it if something happened. Is that my aunt coming to Kyoto? Anshin didn't know. No need, I can take care of it here. Anwen shook his head, just forget about his mother coming over. There is so much work at home, but he can't do without his mother. Besides, he made it very clear on the phone that Shuang would not go back without his mother coming over. When his mother asked him to come over, he didn't let her go. His father has a bad leg, and the eldest sister cannot handle the work of two families at home alone. Okay, tell me if you have anything to say. Anshin was a stupid person and didn't know what to say. Okay, let's get down to business. The second batch of wine will be out soon. What will Uncle Drunkard say this time? Their wine is quite famous in Kyoto. Not much, just enough to sell in Kyoto. If we want to sell it, we have to expand the venue, but we don't have enough money. To put it bluntly, there is land, but not enough to build factories. It's okay. Take your time and start construction after the new year. By the time it's completed, we will have almost sold the wine for next year, and we will have enough money by then. Anwen's abacus was better than Anshin's. This is enough, but we haven't shared any money with my sister-in-law in 2 years. Where is my sister-in-law? Anshin was a little worried. Anwen was also embarrassed. How about I ask An Liang and the others after their vacation and then call my sister-in-law to tell me? His sister-in-law left the winery affairs to him, and he wanted to do better. This is the only way. Didn't An Liang make another batch of fruit wine last time? When I called back last time, my mother said that the fruit wine made by my sister-in-law was very delicious, and asked if we had made it. Do you want to ask your sister-in-law to give the recipe for Baguio wine to An Liang? Lately, many women have come to ask about fruit wine. Those people came in the name of old customers, so he couldn't refuse them all. Is there anything else? It was obvious that Anwen didn't know about this. Well, my mother said that the aroma of the wine was very attractive, which made many people in the village want to steal the wine. Fortunately, Xiao Yi was watching at home, otherwise all the wine would have been stolen. The development of the village is getting better and better, and they are all very grateful to their sister-in-law. Haha, everyone in the village felt itchy when they saw that the third grandma was not at home, and Wen laughed from the bottom of his heart. That is, if the third grandma was at home, they would not even dare to think of this idea. Anshin also became happy. After discussing the fruit wine with Anshin, Anwen looked at the time and saw that it was 3:30. Okay, I have to pick up Xiaoi. Just keep an eye on this place and don't go back too late at night. They all live in a dormitory in the factory now. The room is not big, but it is enough for them to live alone. Even Anwen occupies 2 rooms by himself. There is nothing he can do. He and his family cannot live in 1 room. I know, go quickly, be careful that Xiaoi doesn't see you crying. The little niece became even cuter. Compared with the stability here in Kyoto, Lixia in the county town is very proud of the spring breeze. Because the clothes in her clothing store are of good style, many people come to buy the goods, and the sales volume is increasing day by day. She also gave her own clothing store a name, Xiaguan Clothing. She even asked others to call her the factory manager, but she was really a factory manager. No, her business here is getting better and better, and the demand for space is also increasing. Now she has her name in the county and has become an excellent entrepreneur. Compared to Xiaguan Clothing, Ma Liming's furniture factory is much inferior. But he is also down to earth. Even after knowing his shortcomings, he is not discouraged. No, he has set his mind on Guangzhou. Li Ming, when you go to Guangzhou this time, you can transfer to Shenzhen City to see your third grandma and the others. Aunt Zillian was at her daughter's house, helping her daughter pack her son-in-law's luggage for the trip, and gave him instructions one by one. Mom, you know, I will go to Shenzhen City first, and then go to Guangzhou province. If you have anything to bring to the third grandma and the others, leave it to me and I will definitely bring it to you. He didn't know what his mother-in-law was thinking, but it wasn't just his mother-in-law's thoughts. He also wanted to see his third grandma and the others. Well, the Chinese New Year is coming soon, and I don't know if your third grandma and the others will come back to celebrate the New Year. I made a lot of bacon and sausages for her. You can take them with you this time. If they are heavy, you can buy another box. Let's go. Aunt Zillian didn't think it would bother her son-in-law at all. If it weren't for the third aunt and Xiaoxiu, her son-in-law wouldn't even know where he would be working. It's not like now, when someone calls me Boss Ma when I go out. Of course, Ma Liming is also a grateful person, and he remembers Mei Shui's kindness in helping him. He was able to open that store because of the furniture styles that Mei Shui gave him in advance. Otherwise, with his craftsmanship, it would be good if he didn't starve to death. If you still want to make a lot of money, stop dreaming. If you do the math, compared with before, your home is really a world away. Ma Liming brought very few things with him. Many people in the village heard that he was going to Shenzhen City to visit, and one by one, they all expressed their feelings and asked him to take him there. At the end, Ma Liming got on the train alone with 6 large bags of things. Fortunately, the train he got on was the first and last train. If it's a passing car, I'm afraid it won't be able to transport anything. In Shenzhen City, Mei Shui and Grandma He didn't know that Ma Liming was coming. However, Mei Shui received a call from Anwen and the others, asking them for a recipe for bagel. Mei Shui was confused. After listening to what they said, she really couldn't laugh or cry. It seems that the wine will be ready later, and it is normal for the aroma to come out. It is winter now, and the wind will come out. Finally, Mei Shui gave them the recipe for Hoa wine, but told them that the wine would take a long time, otherwise the aroma of the wine would not come out. It would take several years to produce, which really made Anwen and the others regret asking. This recipe is in the hand, it is a pity, but now it is used, they lack money. Of course, she also informed Mei Shui about expanding the venue. Mei Shui thought that she was not short of money, so she would let them do it. Grandma He looked unhappy and said they were messing around, but she just complained about them and cared about each of them more and more. Especially Anshan, who is getting older, so I asked him if he had a partner and when he planned to get a wife. He also told them about Anyang's engagement and told them to come back to attend Anyang's wedding when they have time. As soon as Ma Liming arrived in Shenzhen City, he dialed the number he had always remembered at the train door. The phone rang several times before the phone was picked up. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 367. Chapter 367, Passion. Hello, this is Yuanhang Shipping Company. Who are you calling? The person who answered the phone was Hans, who was arranging for the truck to leave Shenzhen today. Just after taking a break to drink a glass of water, he was interrupted by a phone call again. Hans, my name is Ma Liming, I'm in Shenzhen City now. As soon as the phone call came through, Ma Liming quickly said who he was. Hans was startled. Brother-in-law, why are you here in Shenzhen City? Why didn't you call in advance? Where are you now? I'll pick you up right away. Just stand still. After specifying the location on the phone, Hans took the keys to the jeep and ran out. Boss, where are you going? We need to load the goods later, an employee at the station shouted. I'll go out to pick up someone. You guys should be busy first. Don't leave in a hurry. Wait for me to come back. Hans couldn't keep his brother-in-law waiting for a long time, so he could only let the people at the station keep an eye on him for a while. Wait until he comes back to inspect the goods before driving out of the station. At the train station, Ma Liming hung up the phone and stood waiting. There were people coming and going here, and he was worried about his big and small bags. It's fine if he loses it himself, but don't lose these things. He won't be able to deal with the villagers and the third grandma by then. He was a little tired after driving for several days, but he didn't expect that the weather in Shenzhen City would be so hot. When he was at home, he wore a cotton padded jacket, but when he got here, he only had one piece of clothing that was just right. Putting the clothes he took off on the ground, Ma Liming sat down leaning on the bag. He was really tired. When Hans came over and saw such a look, it was really sad. Hurrying closer, brother-in-law, brother-in-law, Hans shouted excitedly. As soon as Ma Liming heard the voice, he raised his head from eating the cake and said, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. Brother-in-law, why are you eating cakes here? You are hungry. Let's go and eat first. Seeing him like this, Hans felt very uncomfortable. It's okay, it's okay. I just ate something and I'm not too hungry. Let's go see the third grandma first. Ma Liming put away the pancake in his hand and said with an embarrassed look. Let's go home and eat. Hans helped get the things into the car. Fortunately, the car is big enough to hold it. Brother-in-law, why do you carry so many things? It's so much. My mother and people from the village brought them to my third grandma. This is too much. Why don't you know how to refuse? I felt sorry for him. It's okay, it's a rare occasion, so bring as much as you can. Ma Liming didn't think it was a big deal. On the way back, Ma Liming once again realized the prosperity of the big city. I am very optimistic about my trip to Guangzhou. When the time comes, we will bring back some styles that we have never seen in the county, and business will definitely be better. At home, it was only noon now. Mei Shui and Grandma happened to be taking a lunch break at home. When they heard someone opening the door, they immediately walked out of the room. Why are you back at this time? Mei Shui asked immediately when she saw Hans. But when Hans gave up the person behind him, brother-in-law, when did you come? He asked with a surprised look on his face. Grandma also saw Ma Liming. Why didn't you call me in advance when you came? After saying that, the two of them immediately stepped forward to greet him. Xiaoxiu, Grandma, don't be too busy talking. There are all things brought by my brother-in-law in the car outside. Let's help each other first. I don't know how he brought them here. You kid, why are you carrying so many things? Really, you must have had a hard journey along the way. Grandma had no intention of going out to move things, so she pulled Ma Liming and sat down. Third grandma, I'm not tired. My mother, Aunt Milian, Aunt Ting, and the villagers asked me to bring these things to you. You must explain clearly. They are interested, but they are just giving you a hard time. Why don't you kid know how to refuse? We have everything here, and everything is fine. He said this with a smile on his face. Mei Shui and Hians moved several times before they finished moving their things. Brother-in-law, why didn't you make a call before you came? Fortunately, Ans is at the station. What would you do if he wasn't there? Mei Shui complained angrily. She is becoming more and more down to earth now. It's okay. If I can't get through today, I'll call tomorrow. Didn't I forget my home phone number? He thought the number he remembered was his home number. Didn't expect it? Okay, you'll write down your home phone number later. He's been through a lot of hard work along the way, so don't say a few words for Grandma. Ma Liming is now more popular than these two people. Xiaoxiu, my brother-in-law hasn't eaten yet, go and get him a bowl of noodles. We'll go out to eat later to catch the wind for my brother-in-law, Hians told Mei Shui. Hearing this, Mei Shui didn't waste any time. Okay, we have noodles at home for lunch, and there are still some, bought fresh in the morning, and chicken soup, freshly stewed at noon. Without saying a word, she went straight to the kitchen. At this point, Ma Liming felt a little embarrassed. Xiaoxiu, don't go to too much trouble, just do something casually. It's okay, no trouble, no trouble, Grandma. He smiled so hard that her eyes bulged. Ans, there is some bacon in it. This stuff can't be stuffy. Please help me take out the bacon first. There are also some dry goods. I don't know if they have been crushed. In the living room, the three of them began to open large bags one by one and take out the contents. By the time Mei Shui came out with noodles, the floor in the living room was full. Why are there so many things, brother-in-law? You are really good at it. Mei Shui really felt that he was a capable person. Haha, it's okay, I just spent some effort. I returned to Zhong, but when I arrived at my destination, all I felt was happiness. You, go and eat noodles quickly, leave this to me, Grandma. He pushed Ma Liming and asked him to eat noodles. Ma Liming was not polite to them, stood up directly and walked to the dinner table. He started eating in big gulps, and in the end not even the soup was left. After picking up the children in the afternoon, everyone set off to the Intercontinental Hotel together. Of course, every time they come to eat, they have to pay, and it is not the same as one code. Ma Liming's arrival made Grandma miss the village again. She also thought about returning to the village during the new year. Even though she had discussed it before, she still wanted to go back. Ma Liming didn't stay here for a few days, and then he was taken to Guangzhou by Hians. Fortunately, he also had something to do there. Now, both the Shenzhen and Guangzhou sites are now in operation. Not only does it receive goods, but it also delivers goods, which is no worse than the business in Mingcheng. If it weren't for Xiaolai and Xiangyang who couldn't leave for a while, Hians would have wanted them to come over and watch them alone. He was very tired from running in both directions alone. Ma Liming gained a lot from his time in Guangzhou, which gave him a new understanding of furniture. Meixia couldn't help him at this point because she didn't have a stable home when she was in her own world. Don't forget to vote. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 368. Chapter 368, Growth. Even if she had seen those furniture styles, how could she remember those styles under such circumstances? There is no rush to save your life. In the end, they did not return to the village during the Spring Festival of 1992, but He and Young took Li Hai back. They want to go back to hold an engagement ceremony. It is impossible to do it in Shenzhen City instead of going to their hometown. But when He and Young left, Mei Shui asked him to bring a letter to Xiao Yi. That is, he will be able to take 50% of the crops produced in the area under his control in the village. That is to say, two people share it equally. But he had to arrange the invitation himself, and he was also asked to build a wall around the back hill. Now that Brother Du has left the village, the back mountain is considered uninhabited. You can surround all that place and wait for her to open it again after she returns. After He Anyung heard the news, he immediately thanked his brother. After everything was arranged, Mei Shui went to Yanlu village after He Anyung left. Here, Xiaobai has the opportunity to be wild. At home, he can only become a pet dog. Eat, drink, and sleep at home every day, and I don't want to leave the house every day. It's too lazy to kill it. Xiaobai, go for a walk in the mountains. As soon as they entered the village, Mei Shui arranged for Xiaobai to go out. Then she went to find Xiao Zhang and the others. They couldn't go back during the Chinese New Year. When Mei Shui came to the house she had built, she saw everyone working in the yard. After a quick look, she realized that everyone was dividing the mountain goods there. Xiao Li, Xiao Zhang, are you busy? Mei Shui wanted to tell them something. Boss, you are here, we are not busy. The two quickly stood up from the pile of mountain goods. They are the bosses to the outside world, but they often help everyone work together. In the village, their words are much more effective than Mei Shui. Then you guys come here. Mei Shui walked directly to the office room. There are some account books and seeds inside. Boss, what do you want from us? They asked immediately as soon as they came in. Sit down and talk. Mei Shui found a place to sit down by herself. I'm here today mainly to tell you about the new year. You also know that the Chinese New Year is not long away. You will definitely not be able to go back this year. The village needs your help to keep an eye on it. The weather here is different from other places. Work must start after the new year. Mei Shui told them the actual situation. Boss, we know about it. Boss, he is going home this year to get engaged, so we won't go home. We didn't go home many times in the past, and it's no different this year. You have nothing to be embarrassed about, right? Mei Shui asked with some worry. I know it's my fault for asking you to work overtime during the new year, but I can't help it. We can't do without you here, but don't worry, I will definitely give you a big red envelope during the new year. She and Hians had already discussed this matter. There are no difficulties, but we won't be polite if you just give me a red envelope. When the two heard this, they were happy. That's good, but I'd better call home and tell them so that my parents don't worry, Mei Shui said worriedly. Well, we'll call again in 2 days. Then we can bring some money to our family. They won't be paid until the 15th day. There's no way. Who asked them to come until the 15th day? That's okay. You will pay the wages yourself when the time comes. He Anyong is not here, so I don't know about these things. There are many people who pay wages, and she can't remember every one of them. You two will get 3 more months' salary, which will be considered as compensation for your overtime work. The New Year's red envelope will not count. Mei Shui teased them with a smile. That's a good feeling. After they retired from the army, they really didn't have much money in their hands. After giving it to the family, they only had enough food for themselves for a year. Mei Shui stayed in the village all day and did not go back until the afternoon. Grandma went to pick up the children today. The first month of the new year has passed quickly, and the new year is getting closer and closer. Because they will not go back to the village to celebrate the new year this year, the children are a little unhappy. They really want to go back to the village to play with their friends. Time flies, and the years are like a shuttle. The flowers bloomed and faded for another 3 years, and the white horse passed by in an instant. Since arriving in Shenzhen City, Mei Shui's family has never been back to the village. It's not that they don't want to go back, it's just that everyone is busy and can't go back. Let alone Mei Shui, even Hians couldn't get away. Now, whether in Shenzhen or Guangzhou, business is getting better and busier day by day. Forget about returning to the village. Once he was on a business trip, Hians had very few days to go home. Grandma he often complains and goes back to the past days. Neither Mei Shui nor Hians can do anything about this. 3 years have changed a lot for everyone. Whether it's the He family or others, everyone is changing. The thing that makes Mei Shui the happiest is probably that Wang Jiajia has transferred her career to Shenzhen City. She also has someone to accompany her every day. From being busy at the beginning to enjoying life later, these are things that she did not dare to think about in her previous life. And Wen's family gave birth to a second child, a son, who is 2 years old this year. The boy was born in Kyoto. He was loved by everyone in the family as soon as he was born. Anshin also got married last year. As soon as he got married, he took his wife and settled down in Kyoto. When it comes to Anting, they don't want to come over. They prefer life in the village. Anshin's daughter-in-law was introduced to him by Grandma Jinghua after he returned to the village. She was from her natal village. She was a very nice person and had graduated from high school. It goes without saying that she has good character, and she would not introduce a bad Grandma Jinghua to Anshin. Now I have a ball in my belly. She will give birth in 2 to 3 months. With the expansion of Anwen, the business of Bodhi Winery is getting better and better year by year. As early as last year, everyone received a lot of income. It also allowed Anshin and Anwen to settle down in Kyoto. Don't underestimate Kyoto. Even now, it costs a lot of money to buy a house within the Third Ring Road. Fortunately, they have enough money to buy a larger house. Whether it is Aunt Tingzi, Aunt Zillion, or Aunt Milian, none of them are willing to leave the village. Hejiakan is not said to be very rich, but it is a famous wealthy village in Xinchen County. They were reluctant to leave. Anshin's daughter-in-law is named Zhang Wenli. She is very pretty, but she is more than good enough for Anshin. He Anyang and Li Hei got married on May Day in 1992. At that time, they held banquets in Shenzhen City and Hejia village. It was considered the first happy event after becoming rich. Everyone was very enthusiastic, even the woman's parents were invited. Mei Shi and Hians couldn't go back at that time. They had no choice but to leave, so Grandma He went back to the village. After returning from the village, her little bond with him had faded away. Living with Mei Shui and the others in Shenzhen City made her feel more comfortable. Originally, she thought she could not leave the village, but she did not expect that the people she could not do without were her relatives. Now, everyone finally has their own destination. Whether it is in Cheng, Liang, or Anwei, they are not married yet, but they are not in a hurry, and they are all devoted to their own careers. Anwei is responsible for the He family's field production and is also Jianxiang's most reputable supplier. Please give me a recommended monthly ticket. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 369. Chapter 369, Life. By now, Guji had gradually stabilized, the store had not expanded, and the production requirements were not that high. The business is quite good, and he has established a foothold in Mingcheng. He has not thought about expanding production, but unfortunately there are not enough manpower at home, so he can't resign to do this. So Guji's family no longer expanded their business, but instead he was the first to make money. Whether it was Qianxiang or Mei Shui, each of them invested the money they earned into expansion. They made a lot of money, but they didn't put it into their pockets. Don't forget that every time Mei Shui checks out with Qianxiang, she puts in such a large sum of money, but He Anyang uses it. Because of the purchase of Tiandishan in Shenzhen City, her capital is also used. No amount of income can make up for such a big hole. Fortunately, with the relaxation in recent years, the harvests have become bigger and bigger, and Mei Shui feels more and more comfortable. Looking out the window, Mei Shui's eyes were no longer as indifferent as before, and the colors in her eyes became brighter. "Mom, what are you looking at there? Is there another bird's nest in our tree?" Xiao Cheng just finished reading the book in his hand and found that his mother was still standing there, motionless. Hearing her youngest son's voice, Mei Shui looked back at him and asked, "Have you finished reading the book?" Her voice was very warm, completely different from her previous one. Even her own children can't see too many colors in her eyes, but now she considers her family members in her eyes and in her heart, from one grandma to many. I've finished reading it. I've read this book a long time ago. Big brother gave it to me a long time ago. Xiao Cheng's brain is very easy to use. No matter what he learns, he can learn it faster than Xiao Peng, but he refuses to learn it. Refined. Always half-hearted, with half a bottle of water sloshing around. Not as solid as Xiao Peng and Xiaowu, there is no way, this kid is too wild-minded, not even Mei Shui can make him calm down. But fortunately, he is much stronger in martial arts. Even though he is the youngest, he still has the highest martial arts value among the three brothers. This has made Xiaowu unbalanced for a long time. I gave it to you a long time ago, and you're still reading it now. It seems like you haven't been taught a lesson lately. Why don't you practice with your mother? Mei Shui raised her eyes and looked straight at Xiao Cheng, who was sitting on the sofa. This child really couldn't sit or stand, which made her so angry that she wanted to slap him. Mom, how can you be so partial? Do you want to give me a small start? This is not possible. What do you want the eldest brother and the second brother to think? This boy is really in need of a fight. You are just lazy. Don't bring me an eldest brother with you. Xiao Peng happened to come out of the house to pour water. When he heard his brother's words, his mouth twitched. The older this brother gets, the more troublesome he becomes. Xiao Peng and Xiao Cheng are both 8 years old this year. Maybe Mei Shui gave them too much supplements when they were young, which made their brains develop too much, and one is more sophisticated than the other. As for Xiaowu, he is worse than the two brothers in some things. Even if he is the first to practice martial arts, even if he is the first to study medicine. In these two items, whether Yi is 3 points behind Xiao Peng, Wu is even worse than Xiao Cheng by several points. Even if Xiao Cheng is too lazy to be like this. Second brother, I'm your biological brother. How can I enjoy my mother's education all to myself? Xiao Cheng was afraid that his second brother would run away, and he would be the only one caught by his mother. Hurriedly got up from the sofa, flipped over, and came directly to the second brother. Mom, look, the second brother agreed. The decision made by the mother cannot be changed. Tell your dad to forget it, or you will be punished even more severely. Xiao Peng rolled his eyes. Mom, I haven't finished reading the medical books that Mrs. Mu gave me last time. I want to finish those books. As soon as they had a holiday, Xiao Peng and Xiao were fascinated by the medical books sent by Mr. Mu. Mixia just let them do whatever they like, and let them learn medicine if they like it. Xiao Cheng liked Wu, and she didn't stop him. Well, go ahead, your brother has a lot to deal with. You and Xiao don't come out for a while no matter what sound you hear. After saying that, Mei Shui walked quickly to her youngest son. With one hand, he just carried the person away. Where to go? Of course I'm going to practice. The naughty child must be taught a lesson if he disobeys. Xiao Peng, who returned to the room after pouring water, looked happy. Seeing Xiao Yu, his tooth ached. Are you tricking Xiao Cheng again? Don't think he didn't hear what you just said. Xiao Peng glanced at his eldest brother and said, it's as if you don't cheat him. After saying that, the two looked at each other and smiled. Soon Xiao Cheng's shouts came from the yard behind. What a pity, my wife went out early in the morning. Brother, do you think this kind of hemostatic medicine can really be produced? Xiao Peng was recently reading the medical book given to him by his mother and Mrs. Mu, which contained a hemostatic medicine that would provide immediate results. To Xiao Peng's perspective, such hemostatic medicine is magical. Xiao was also a little undecided. He had seen it before, but he always thought it was too fantasy, and he was busy studying, so he didn't think much about it. I don't know if you are interested. You can give it a try, maybe it will work. My mother said that I cannot dampen my brother's enthusiasm for learning. Xiao Peng listened very seriously and nodded. Brother is right, I will try it, but the medicinal materials here are not complicated. Xiaopeng thought about the possibilities. Then I did some calculations and found that I had enough pocket money to pay for it. Brother, why don't you accompany me out to buy some medicinal materials and come back? It's better to act than to think. Xiao just finished his homework. The vacation was only half a month, and his homework was completed in this half month. Okay, after packing the things at hand, Xiao stood up and said, "Let's go. Do you have enough money?" He knew that his family was quite wealthy, but their parents didn't give them much pocket money on weekdays, so they really didn't have much cash on hand. Let me take a look. Xiaopeng climbed to the ground and pulled out 2 boxes from under the bed where he slept. Brother, if you said I helped Xiaocheng spend the money, he wouldn't be angry. Xiaopeng counted the pocket money in the 2 boxes. Xiao was speechless. As long as you are happy, of course, it will be no problem if you can beat the second brother. Hearing this, Xiaopeng made a difficult choice. Forget it, what's his is his, I'd better use mine. Taking the money, the 2 of them spoke to their mother in the courtyard and left the house. They have been in Shenzhen city for several years. Except for remote places, they have traveled all over Shenzhen city. They are not afraid of getting lost. With all their hard work, they are even less likely to get lost. In the past, Xiao was the eldest among the 3 brothers, regardless of his medical skills or martial arts. But not anymore. It only took a few years for Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng to catch up with their elder brother. In terms of martial arts, Xiaocheng is the eldest of the 3 brothers in the family, Xiaoyu is the second, and Xiaopeng is the last. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 370. Chapter 370, The Old Lady's Job. In terms of medical skills, Xiaopeng is more courageous than Xiao. He often practices some things for treating people, and his proficiency is higher than that of Xiao. Of course, theoretically he is no less powerful than Xiao. He reads more and more miscellaneous books. Mainly because his study pressure is not as great as that of Xiaoyu. There are too many things to read now. Perhaps they have found a way to play, so Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng have been studying step by step. There was no mention of skipping a grade again. They are all in their 3rd grade now, and they have always been ranked among the top 1 or 2 in their age group. What's the point of skipping a grade? It's so great now. You don't have to go to class every day. It's so free. The development of the Shenzhen market has truly been rapid in recent years. Xiaopeng and Xiaoyu came to an old street, where everything was sold, and the largest stores were medicinal stores. All kinds of medicinal materials are sold here. This is not the first time for Xiaopeng and Xiao to come here. As soon as they entered the store where they often visit, the waiter in the store recognized the 2 of them. Xiao, Xiaopeng, why are you here today? The speaker was a young man, probably in his 20s, but his tone was very flattering to the 2 children. Can't blame him, there is no one who can learn better than him. His master always scolded him that he was not as good as a child. He was not as good as 1, but not as good as 3. Forget it, these 3 brothers are incomparable to him. Brother Ang, are you alone in the store today? Isn't Mrs. Wu here? Xiao asked when he saw that there was only 1 person in the store in front of him. Today the master went to collect the medicinal materials. I am here alone. What are you doing here today? Angkor walked out of the medicine cabinet. Don't tell me that you are here to buy medicinal materials again. I just bought so many last time. If he were not too familiar with them, he would not sell them the medicinal materials. Yes, all the medicinal materials at home are used up. I have to buy some new ones this time. Each time they bought not a whole prescription of medicinal materials. Instead, I bought a mix of them and bought a few prescriptions of medicinal materials. Well, you guys are just messing around, and you have wasted so many good medicinal materials. Angkor was too lazy to ask more questions. This was not the first time. Haha, there is no way, my mother said, if you want to learn Chinese medicine, you have to practice hard. Xiaopeng opened his mouth and started to lie. Xiao rolled his eyes. What his mother clearly said was to let them waste less. It was not easy to make money. Okay, your family is rich, so that's enough. The three of them talked and laughed for a while, and then Wu Ji got up and packed the medicinal materials that Xiaopeng and Xiao asked for. Take it easy this time, my master said, there are fewer and fewer good medicinal materials now. Angkor said with some distress. I know, when I succeed, I will sell all the medicines to Mrs. Wu, Xiaopeng said flatteringly. It's just you, forget it, finished medicine is not something you can make successfully just by thinking about it. It's better to memorize more prescriptions to save trouble, Angkor said disapprovingly. After spending almost all the money in their hands, the two of them took the medicine bag and left the pharmacy. Brother, it seems we have to come up with some finished products, otherwise we will be looked down upon by others, Xiaopeng said with a look of disbelief. Xiao shook his head. Come on, do you think mom will let you sell it? It's not like he hasn't practiced before, but his mom has never asked him to sell it. Forget it, let's play with some things that we need on a daily basis, or leave them at home. Hey, how much money do you think this will cost? Xiaopeng felt distressed. It is true that he likes to study medicine, but he likes to make money even more. It's so fun to earn money and spend it. You can buy whatever you want. If you have the guts, tell your mother. Xiao rolled his eyes at him. Let's go and buy some food for Xiao Chang, otherwise he will be noisy all night. Xiao Chang is about to become the Demon King. Humph, I'm used to him, so I won't buy it today. If he dares to make a noise, I'll sleep with my wife at night, Xiaopeng said with disdain. Xiao was too lazy to pay attention to him. As the eldest brother, he couldn't ignore his younger brother, so he spent money to buy Xiao Chang some food he liked to eat. When he got home, Xiao Chang was almost half dead, crawling on the sofa. Big brother and second brother, where have you been? It was so unfraternal to let him face his mother's wind alone. Xiaopeng rolled his eyes and said mockingly, if you talk less every day, you will get beaten a lot less. He didn't like him. Xiao put the medicine bag on the coffee table. Okay, just say a few words less. Xiao Chang, here, I bought this for you. He put some snacks in Xiao Chang's hand. No, brother and brother, are you going to buy medicinal materials again? You have a lot of money. Xiao Chang couldn't understand the psychology of the brother and brother. I want you to take care of it, huh? I won't give it to you until I develop a hemostatic medicine. Xiao Chang gave his second brother a roll of his eyes. The things you practice are just enough to use to punish your classmates. If you still want to stop the bleeding, go ahead and dream about it, second brother. Don't mention it. Xiao Chang's arrogance is really comparable to An Liang's. Brother, look, I just said don't worry about him. He's still in high spirits. After saying that, Xiaopeng was very angry and took his medicine bag to the room where he usually practices medicine. Since he Anyang moved out, that room has been used by Mei Shui to practice medicine. There is no way, who brought Wang Jiajia to Shenzhen City. She can't practice in the space every day, right? Then become a living person again? Mei Shui listened to all the children's conversations in the kitchen, and she couldn't stop smiling. But she felt that Xiao Chang should be taught a lesson. If possible, she would have thrown the person into the army, but it was a pity that they were not in Kyoto. Otherwise, she might have been able to find Uncle Shi. When lunch was ready, Grandma He came back. She is getting more energetic every day now. As soon as he came back, he took Xiaoxiu to talk about her battle situation today. Xiaoxiu, why can't Xiaoli's mother think straight? Grandma, he continued after drinking a large glass of water. Do you want money or your daughter's happiness? She is really like a stepmother. You said that the man promised to give her a gift and even gave her 8,088, but she still said it was not enough. How could she get it? Can't you ask the man to give all his property to her family? If he didn't have a good daughter, who would be willing to get into such a relationship? In-laws. Mei Shui ate her own meal and listened to the gossip. She knew that her grandma did not want to hear her answer, and she was also afraid that her answer would make her angry. Xiaoli's life is really hard. With such a mother, if this continues, this marriage will really be ruined. Grandma He's face was full of worry. She really likes Xiaoli, but it's a pity that the family favors sons over daughters. It's not like marrying off a daughter, it's almost like selling a daughter. Forget it, think of a way. If it doesn't work, forget it, she can't ruin her own brand. Madam, are you the Aunt Li who sells chickens across the street? Xiao Cheng started talking more. But no, what a wonderful child, but her mother has delayed it. Grandma He shook her head and said. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 371. Chapter 371, Naughty Child. Xiao Chen nodded. Well, I heard that her second brother is getting married. Madam, don't you know? It turns out that this kid also has a gossipy heart. Huh? Is there such a thing? The old lady was surprised. Where did you know about it? Grandma He put down the bowl and chopsticks and asked immediately. I heard what my classmate said. It seems that the person is my classmate's and Xiao Cheng's friends are very generous. I don't know about this. It seems that Xiaoli's mother really plans to sell her daughter to marry her daughter-in-law. Huh, that's not how it works. So, the old lady quickly finished her lunch and ran out again. That's right, the old lady found her own career here in Shenzhen City, that is, working as a matchmaker with a few old men and women. Of course, they are also pragmatic when it comes to matchmaking, unlike some matchmakers who like to use deception in everything they do. Mei Shui twitched as she watched her grandma float away like the wind. He glared at Xiao Cheng and said, practice for 2 more hours in the afternoon. Mei Shui lives a life of taking care of children here every day. Hian's side is different. Business is getting better and better day by day, and the Shenzhen market has asked Mr. Zhao for a lot of people to come over. No, you can't say anything. You can go to the Kyoto station yourself. I just established myself in Shenzhen City and you want me to leave again. You're dreaming. Hians hung up the phone in his hand angrily. So angry. The family finally accepted the life in Shenzhen City, and now they want him to go to Kyoto. There is no way. On the other end of the phone, Shaolai looked helpless. No, he doesn't agree. He shook his head and said to Xiang Yang. Xiang Yang also smiled bitterly. Kyoto is not a place where we can start a fight. You also know that no matter what you do in Kyoto, you have to have connections. Do we have it? Xiang Yang felt embarrassed. No, Shaolai said firmly. But we can't always let Ans take the lead. He still has his wife and children. It's only been a few years and he has to change places. I wouldn't want to change him. Shaolai took a deep breath of the flu. I know, but what can I do? How about you go to Kyoto? Xiang Yang was also very decadent. If there was some way, he wouldn't want to trouble Ans like this, but their abilities are really not as good as his. How about we go to Shenzhen City to talk to him, that's all. Sure, but someone has to guard the Shenzhen market, and one of us has to leave this time. Nan province is the big winner, but now the business here is not as good as the Shenzhen market. Also, our headquarters also needs to be changed. I always feel that it is not very high-end here in Nan province, Shaolai said with a look of longing. Nowadays, there are always branches and groups in first and second tier cities, etc. And what about them? In Nan province, if you talk about it, you will be better than others. So, You want Ens to go to Kyoto because you want him to establish a headquarters. Xiangyang was a little confused. That's right, Xiaolai nodded. But it looks like he doesn't want to do it. Xiaolai didn't expect this. Forget it, since the three of us started this transport team, he has always been at the forefront of everything. We owe him, Xiangyang said with some distress. What should we do? Finally, the two of them decided on a train ticket to Shenzhen City. Since they didn't agree on the phone, for the sake of longer-term development in the future, they had no choice but to go to Shenzhen City to discuss it in detail. Hans didn't know that he had been clearly arranged again. After hanging up the phone, he was very angry. He was angry that they would let him be the vanguard no matter what. After finally settling down, he didn't want to run around anymore. It is very bad for both the children and the family. He can't stay angry for long, because something will soon bother him. After a busy day at the station, I drove home with my exhausted body. As soon as he returned home, he saw 3 children standing in the backyard. He smiled. What bad thing did you do again? Hans asked his child with a smile on his face. Xiao rolled his eyes and didn't want to speak. Xiaopeng was half dead with anger, and now he is angry and doesn't want to speak. Only Xiaocheng saw his father coming home. He immediately put away his horse and stood up. Dad, it's good if you come back. Mom, she abused us. It turns out that this brat, Xiaopeng, and Xiao both gave up on treating him. What are you talking about, you bastard? I think your mother punished you too lightly, so you still have the strength to talk nonsense here. Let's do this. You will perform the 12 sets of boxing from beginning to end, and you will not be allowed to eat until you finish. After saying that, he opened the door and went home directly. As soon as you enter the house, the aroma of the food comes over you. Xiaoxiu, Grandma. Hans put away his bags and clothes and walked to the kitchen and called. You're back. Seeing her grandson coming back, Grandma, he smiled brightly. The food will be ready soon. You go and sit down first. Then Xiaoxiu glanced at him and saw the worry in his eyes. We will eat in a while. Go and ask Xiaopeng and the others to come in. Some things are better to be asked later. Well, Xiaopeng and the others can eat, but Xiaocheng can forget about it. After saying that, Hans turned around and walked out. Hearing what he said, Grandma, he twitched her mouth and said, Xiaoxiu, why do you think this child Xiaocheng has the same moral character as An Liang when he was a child? When An Liang was a child, he was often beaten because of his bad mouth. Mei Shui shook her head. He family genes, they both have the surname He, which is normal. Grandma, congratulations. Xiaopeng and Xiao were better. They only stood there for about an hour. They are also stupid. Why would they listen to Xiaocheng? When the two of them were practicing hemostatic medicine, they always felt that something was wrong. At this time, Xiaocheng came in. Big brother and second brother, what's wrong with you? This medicine is wrong. No, it should be said that there is something we didn't do well. The two of them were silently practicing medicine, completely unaware that Xiaocheng came in to talk to them. What's wrong? You haven't put in the green grass here. He doesn't like medical skills very much, but it doesn't mean he doesn't understand it. Yes, I remembered it. In the end, I need green grass to fuse it. Oh my God, how could I forget this? Hence, Xiaopeng waved to Xiaocheng beside him, give me the green grass. The accident happened just like that. Xiaocheng was just a workhorse, and he knew King Mako, but when he saw the vine roots on the edge of King Mako, he handed over the vine roots without saying a word. So exploded. The three of them were punished by Mei Shui. The two of them were punished because they were not careful and didn't even pay attention to what they were doing to practice medicine. What if they listened to others and it turned out to be poisonous weeds? Punish them to give them a long memory. Xiaocheng, this child. This is not about being playful, but about harming people. At night, After Mei Shui and Hians washed up and returned to the room, she asked him, did something happen? Hians knew he couldn't hide it from her. Well, brother Xiao and the others want me to go to Kyoto to take the lead. Speaking of this, Hians became very upset. End of this chapter.